Welcome to our lesson on cognitive biases. These are mental shortcuts that help us make quick decisions, but they often lead to errors in judgment. Today, we will dive into the different types of biases, how they influence our thinking, and what we can do to counteract these effects. By the end, you will have tools to make better, more informed decisions. So, what are cognitive biases? Cognitive biases are unconscious patterns of thinking that simplify our decision making process. They allow us to act quickly, which can be useful in certain situations. However, these shortcuts often lead to flawed judgments because they ignore objective data or alternative perspectives. Recognizing these biases is the first step towards improving our decision making skills. Let's start with anchoring bias. Anchoring bias occurs when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we encounter, whether it is a number, a price, or an idea. For instance, when shopping, the first price we see can shape our perception of value. Similarly, in negotiations, the initial offer can set the tone for the entire discussion, often leading to biased outcomes. The availability heuristic happens when we judge the likelihood of an event based on how easily we can recall examples of it. Let's take media bias, for example. After hearing about a plane crash in the news, we might overestimate the risks of flying, even though statistically it is one of the safest modes of transportation. Now, this bias can distort our perceptions of reality, especially when fueled by media or personal experiences. Then there is the confirmation bias. Now, the confirmation bias is a tendency to seek out information that supports what we already believe in while ignoring the evidence that contradicts it. This bias often reinforces pre existing opinions and makes it difficult to consider alternative viewpoints. For example, when researching a topic, we might focus only on the articles or studies that align with our perspective, leading to an incomplete understanding. There is also the concept of sunk cost fallacy, which is when we continue to pursue a course of action because of the resources, time, money, or effort we have already invested, even if it is clear the situation won't improve. For example, staying in a failing business because you have already spent so much on it. Now, to avoid this trap, we have to focus on the potential future outcomes rather than the past. Then there is the overconfidence bias. Overconfidence bias causes us to overestimate our abilities, knowledge, or the accuracy of our judgments. For instance, we might think that we are better drivers or more skilled decision makers than we actually are. Now, this bias can lead us to taking unnecessary risks or dismissing valuable advice. Recognizing our limitations is a key step towards avoiding this pitfall. To reduce the impact of cognitive biases, start by becoming aware of them in your daily life. Seek out diverse perspectives to challenge your thinking, especially from those with different backgrounds or expertise. Use data and evidence to guide your decisions instead of relying solely on intuition. Regular self reflection can also help identify patterns of biased thinking. Cognitive biases are an inevitable part of being human, but they don't have to control our decisions. By understanding these biases, questioning our assumptions, and actively seeking diverse viewpoints, we can improve the quality of our choices. Remember, good decision making requires awareness, intentionality, and a willingness to learn and adapt.